Welcome to Careers in Discovery, your window into the world of biotech leaders. On each episode, we interview the industry's leading executives to understand how they built their careers, what they've learned along the way, and the advice they'd give to their younger selves. This time on Careers in Discovery, Emma is with Juozas Gordevicius, founder of VUGENE, a bioinformatics company making complex multi-omics data analysis accessible to scientists across academia and industry. In this episode, you'll hear a story about an unconventional journey from computer science into life sciences, how a chance meeting with an epigenetics professor changed Juozas's career path, and the story behind founding VUGENE. Along the way, we'll talk about the transformative impact of AI and machine learning on omics data, the realities of building a company from scratch, and why hiring that first team member is one of the scariest but most rewarding moments for any founder.
Good morning, welcome back to Careers in Discovery. Today I'm joined by Juozas Gordevicius, founder at VUGENE. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me in your podcast.
I'm really excited to get into your career. Shall we start by talking a little bit about the work you're doing at the moment with VUGENE?
So VUGENE is a bioinformatics company or computational biology company. We do data analysis for any multi-omics experiment that scientists might have. So we work primarily with scientists, either in academia or in the industry, helping them to understand the data, the mouse model or the human situation that they have at hand.
And I was really interested because I think even in the 4 years since you started up VUGENE, machine learning and the way we use data has changed so much. Talk to me about some of the most exciting developments you've seen in that area.
I think that all of this AI, machine learning development is helping a lot. It's very exciting. Every day there is something new coming out. And we have so fewer problems now with machine learning models. What I mean is that, for example, the way we used to correct for batch effects previously, where you have multiple experiments coming from multiple sites that would have slightly different measurements, and we would have to fix them. Now, with the use of machine learning models, we are doing that so much better. It's so much easier. That's just one way. The other way is having large language models generate the code for us. There are so many things that even I know, coming from computer science background, don't know. Yeah. But I kind of have the feeling how it should be. And then if I need some code generated, I can just get it. It's so much better. So there are so many positive developments in this field. I'm very happy.
Yeah. Does it make the landscape more competitive?
I think there is always a space for human invention, and our goal is to be creative. And that's what all the computing is enabling us to do. Mm-hmm. So for me, machine learning is just additional feature in computing that allows us to shine in what we are really good at being creative.
Yeah, fantastic. So, taking you back to your early days, how did you decide that, particularly in your case, it was more computer science? How did you decide it was the right career path for you?
That was a funny story, actually. So I studied bachelor in computer science, master in computer science, and then I did my PhD in computer science in big databases. Yeah. And all of that was very exciting and very interesting. But I always felt that there is lack of meaningful application of all those skills that I got. And I have always been around medical doctors. So my mother was a doctor. My brother and sister, who are both older, are medical doctors. And I was the youngest child in the family. So I'm not going to study medicine just because there are so many people who are in medicine already. but it was always around me, and I always felt that that's something that I want to somehow be related to. I want to help people. And there are kind of two things that I have in my mind. One is that I want to do something good for people who are sick, or for people who need, and to do something useful. Everybody wants to do that. I always thought that medicine is the closest to that.
Yeah.
The question is, of course, that always was with me. So how does the human function? Where do the thoughts come from? How does the brain work? What is life? And that's kind of something that has always been with me. Not always, but for a long, long time. So bioinformatics then became quite a natural direction to go after all my studies in computer science. And I had an opportunity, so I went for it.
Yeah. That's a lovely story. It's like the medicine was in your DNA, and you fought it for a little while to allow you to do the technology piece, but now you found a way to incorporate both. That's fantastic. From your studies, tell me about how you then transitioned into the world of bioinformatics and your career story.
I was doing a short practice, or I don't know how it should be called, in Toronto at one company in Toronto that I was still doing my PhD.
Yeah.
And in Toronto, I met a professor who was working at University of Toronto. He was an epigenetics professor. And we started talking about things, and he just told me that there is such a thing as bioinformatics, that there is a significant need, that was in 2011 or 2010. So he told me that the technology is changing, that the whole approach to scientific discovery is changing, that till then people would be having one hypothesis, doing an experiment and testing that hypothesis. But now you have the machines, the sequencing machinery, that you can get millions of data points immediately. You can test millions of hypotheses in one experiment. And that needs a different approach. So that kind of got me excited that this is something where I can try to contribute to make something good out of all this data and contribute my skills. That is difficult, in the biomedical fields. You need to know so many things. And if you want to do data analysis, you also need to know a lot of things, but they're different. So there are very few people who can do both.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear how that one professor can make such an impact in your career. Have you ever wondered what sort of direction your career would have gone in if it hadn't been for him?
Probably it would have been different, but that's how it is, right? In life, there are 3 or 4 people probably that have made fundamental impact on the choices of life.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about being brave and seeking that opportunity when it presents itself as well, isn't
Absolutely.
it? Yeah. But how did you find the experience in Canada? I know a little bit later in your career you also worked in Michigan in the US.
I liked Canada. I liked it a lot. And in general, I liked working in both US and Canada.
Yeah.
It is a little bit more industrial, more corporate, comparing to working in academia in Europe.
Yeah.
In a sense that things are much faster. People are much more result-oriented. At least that was my experience.
Okay. Yeah.
I liked it. I am probably very much result-oriented. I want to do something to know that I've done it.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you personally sort of build new relationships when you move to a new country? How do you seek the opportunities that you manage to have for that international exposure?
There are two ways. One is the professional relationships. So, of course, you talk to people that you work with and maintain the relationships. It always helps. I'm not a very talkative person. I'm not good at small talk, which is very important if you are in the US, right? But I think that I knew what I want. I want to understand things about life. I want to apply my skills there.
Yeah.
And I try to communicate that to people that I meet and then see if any opportunity arises out of that. So just knowing what you want to do helps a lot.
Yes.
I think that's one thing. The other thing that helped me a lot, I have a hobby, and that hobby is sailing. I've been sailing as a sportsman since I was 6, 7 years old. I loved it. I am very excited about it. I know a lot about sailing, and I've been leading all kinds of sailing teams.
Yeah.
Amateur, but still in different kinds of seas and lakes. And so whenever I go to some new place, I go to the sailing club. I try to get there. I try to meet the people. There's a connection with it because they all have the same passion.
Yeah.
And that kind of opens a lot of connections outside of your professional space.
Yeah. Yeah. And that really helps you settle, doesn't it? To feel part of a community as well.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So remind me, how long did you spend in Canada?
I think with all the taking everything together, I think I spent about 1 year in Canada. I've been coming and going, working first in this company and then with this professor at U of T. So kind of going back and forth.
Yeah. And then from there, you came back to Lithuania.
Yes.
And you were at the Life Sciences Centre at the Vilnius University, is that correct?
So I started with Vilnius University, the Institute of Mathematics and Informatics.
Yeah.
And after I transitioned into the Life Sciences Center.
Yeah.
I tried to build an academic career there. It was not so easy because it always felt that I didn't fit quite well as a computer scientist. My computer science was applied, like I want to do analysis of data. It's not a fundamental question of computing, right? It's an applied question.
Right.
And then when I moved into Life Sciences Center, I always felt that I'm not a biologist. I don't understand all the processes and all the experiments that are happening in the lab. So I cannot formulate my own experiment. I cannot really get my own funding. So everybody needed me, but at the same time, there was no way forward.
Yeah. How did you overcome that?
Sorry?
How did you overcome that?
I left for the USA.
Yeah.
So I got a job at Van Andel Institute in Michigan, and there I really realized that there is a lot of need for what I'm doing, because almost with every scientist you talk, they would say, yes, I've got this data, I've got my RNA-seq experiment lying around, there's nobody to study it.
Right.
Or I've sent this data to my collaborators and it's been half a year since they replied to me.
Wow, really?
There are not so many people who can do it, and not so many people who want to. People are busy, right? If you are a researcher doing bioinformatics research, you want to do your research. It's just your free time that you take to analyze somebody else's data.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought that it would make sense to have a dedicated service for data analysis for the scientists who need that data analyzed, who need people who can look into their data. And computational biology is complicated. it takes a lot of skill. You need to manage your computing, be it a high-performance computing cluster or a cloud computer. That's difficult. You have to know how to do it. You have to know how to write good programming code, because there is a lot of data. If your code is not good, you will take 2 weeks to run it. If it's good, it might take 10 minutes.
Wow.
So you can save a lot of time if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
And then you have to understand this biological question. So it's not likely that one person will be able to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not likely that a team of such experts will be hired by a university.
Yeah.
So I thought that there is only one way, is to have a service that is a company that is doing it as a service. And that is it.
And that's how VUGENE was born.
And that's how VUGENE was born, yes. So I think of it as there was no other way. It had to be this way.
Yeah. I love that. After you feeling that you kind of didn't fit within the academic world, you didn't quite fit within the life sciences world, you found a way. And you overcame those hurdles, and you found exactly where you fit and how you can support both areas.
I think that's I'm happy about it. I'm happy that I found the solution.
Yeah. And what lessons would you say that taught you?
I think it was always helpful to have people who around me who kind of say, go for it, do it.
Yeah.
And quite a few times in my life, there were people who would just point me out the difficulties and the hurdles that I will run into.
Yeah.
Or the weaknesses of my character, and telling me that you cannot do it. Which, yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, there are hurdles. There are a lot of them. But it doesn't help. Once you know what you want to do, it's not the hurdles that you have to think about. It's just the next step that you can make, that you should try to think about. And I had people in sailing helped a lot, because there were people who said, yeah, you can do it. We don't understand what you're doing, but you seem to be the right guide for it. So
sometimes it just takes that grit and that determination, doesn't it?
Exactly. So I think one of the big things to learn is if there are people who can support you, who say that go for it, that helps a lot.
Yeah. The seek mentorship.
Yes.
And how about when you first had the idea of providing these services, and you initiated and built VUGENE, what were your fears? What were your worries in those early days?
The biggest thing to overcome was to make the first hire.
Yeah.
It's very scary because, of course, they didn't have a lot of money, and it's a big responsibility. And I really care about the people that I hire. So that's kind of it's stressful, it's hard, and but doable.
Yeah. And who was the first hire that you made?
The first was a student. She's still working with us, and she was a second-year bachelor student at the time.
Yeah.
So it was a big step for her, I think.
And a really exciting step, though. Yeah.
Yes.
And how did you go around making sure, when you hired her, how did you make sure that she was the right person for the mission when it's a company at such early stage in its life?
I think I was lucky. I think maybe I'm not good at it, or maybe, hiring experts, maybe they can do a better job. But I have found that so far, all the interviews that I've had with people, they're all fantastic. And every time you hire a person is a fantastic person, but it doesn't mean that it's going to go perfectly well. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's also important to build a relationship. At least the way I see it, I want people to be happy, so I try them to have a good feeling at work, and I put a lot of trust in everyone. So first I give people my trust, and then see how it goes.
Yeah. And I think, and you've got a great mission. You're building something, and that's something really exciting for people to be part of.
Yes, absolutely. It's exciting to get to touch the research of so many different people. I always say that I have never done so much research as I'm doing now that I'm not in academia anymore.
Yeah. And are there particular disease areas? Are there particular areas where your technology shines brightest?
So we work with mostly multi-omics experiments, the experiments where people would have multiple types of omics that they are studying. For example, they would combine proteomics and transcriptomics. Or they want to see metabolomics and proteomics and how do these things work together. And for one, we have from the very early stages, we have decided that every data analysis that we do it as code. And that means whenever a new experiment is coming, we have the code ready and we can just run it. So now if you've got your, let's say, transcriptomics experiment, and you might be interested maybe in the genes that are differentially expressed, that's okay, we can do it for you. But we can also look into alternative splicing, because we've done that once before. We've learned how to do it, and we can now just run it. Then we can look into to see if maybe there are some viral expression in your data that we have looked into the tools sometime before. We looked how that is being done. We automated it, and we just offer it out of the box. So when we have put our work into this kind of a package, we are able to offer a lot more insights into the data, a lot more different ways to look into it, and then try to basically to give the scientist the view of this data in such a way that he can start seeing what's important biologically.
Yeah. So clever. It's really going to speed up the discovery area, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. So I think our work helps a lot to scientists who are doing a lot of experiments. When there are many different experiments, and you don't want to wait for each one of them to get your results, we are very fast to provide the results.
Yeah. So if you were to think back to your younger self, or to give a piece of advice to someone who is early in their career, what would that piece of advice be?
I think when I was in academia, and then the biggest difference, when you start the company and you hire somebody, you have to know that you have the money to pay the salary, right? And that the money will be coming in. So you very quickly learn that in industry, everything is about numbers. It can be money, it can be something else, but you cannot just say, I'm doing good. There must be a number to it, how good. And the same is for every employee, every person doing anything. So if you're doing something, what is your goal? How do you measure it? And how far are you from achieving it? Once you've achieved it, you can say, look, this is the goal, this is the number, I've done it. And everybody will be happy. If you can put a number to your efforts, nobody will be able to criticize you.
Yeah. And it's really important to set those objectives, isn't it, for you and the team that you build, so that everyone can know what good looks like. Everyone can know when they've reached success. And of course, then that milestone turns into a new milestone, and we keep moving and climbing up a ladder. But it is really important to communicate that.
Yes. And for me, probably it's a challenge. I've got a lot of things in my mind.
Yeah.
Does it mean that people understood what I want to do? Probably not. And I often have this feeling that I talk, everybody says, yes, that's what we are doing. And then I hear my other people talking about the same thing. It's a vision. So aligning all those visions, there is a lot of communication that has to be done, right? And and we have to talk.
Yeah, and the train's going to go much smoother if everyone's going in the same direction.
Right.
So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for VUGENE?
So our big overarching goal is to make bioinformatics available.
Yeah.
So if you're a scientist, if you are a small biotech, if you are a pharma and you've got data that is coming along and coming out of the sequencing machines, you really don't want to have your raw data sitting there. You want to have insights into that data. And that means you want to have the data in different forms that you can look at those forms and get some kind of ideas. So that for us is a major goal. And to arrive there, we are kind of changing the fundamental mindset that every experiment is a custom experiment, that every experiment is something very specific to that experiment. And that it needs a very specific data analysis to it.
Right.
We think that it's not entirely so, that 80 or 90% of the work for every experiment is exactly the same and can be standardized. And only the remaining 10 or 20% need some, very customized, specific data analysis skills. So for us, we want to make it available. We want to make the standardized set of tools or more set of insights into the data available to anybody who needs it.
Yeah. And that will continue to stretch across academia and industry.
Absolutely. I think in that regard, there is a big overlap between academia and the industry.
Yeah.
Although people tend to think of themselves like as very different, separate worlds.
Yes, yeah, but they're all running experiments, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you're a small company at the moment. How are you managing your time between, as the founder? We talked about money and the financing element, the leading the team. You're also still very hands-on in working with the data. How do you wear all those hats?
I try to, so as I said, I put a lot of trust in everybody. So sometimes I become a micromanager against my own will when times are stressful or whatever. But I try to be conscious and step back. And it's all about making decisions. So I try to either make decisions myself or help the others make the decisions. And identify what has to be done and manage that. And I've adopted an approach from software engineering world, which is agile software development, where you put a team you put teams together, where they have these Scrum boards where you write down what are the issues, what are the things that need to be addressed, and you move those things along the board. So kind of the way we do data analysis, the way we manage everything is built on one single tool. And it comes from software engineering. And so far, it's been working for us very well.
Very cool. Well, it's really exciting. It's exciting times for you, for VUGENE.
It is very, very interesting. Every day I do something that I have never done before.
That's great. Always learning.
Yes, and I think you also asked, like, why did I pursue a career in science, right? That's probably one of the other answers to that question. I like to do things that have not been done before.
Yeah. Pushing those boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wish you and VUGENE all the success in the world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
I'm
for
very
joining.
happy. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe and share it with someone else you think will benefit. And for more podcasts, videos, blogs and insights, come follow me, Tom Froggatt, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Medium or TikTok. See you next time.